Hacking, a word seemingly synonymous with the current pandemic of cheating in Warzone and FPS games alike. A word that many of us don't truly understand, yet all of us hold in an almost exclusively negative light. But hackers aren't the same as the low-life scum you see aimbotting around Verdansk or cross-map wallbanging you in PUBG. Genuine hackers are a much more elusive and intelligent breed. What's up guys, it's Average Owl making average content for the average viewer, and today I am super excited to bring you this video. If you watched my latest video, you'll know about my concerns regarding controller plugins such as Cronus Sends and Strike Packs. However, after releasing this video, I was approached by a long-time subscriber of mine who just so happened to be a very talented professional hacker, and he wrote me an incredibly detailed account of his opinion on the current issues we have in gaming, from cheating software that gives you aim better than John Wick after an inch-thick line of G Fuel, to AI technology that literally plays the game for you so people could get a 30 kill win in Warzone whilst they pop to the shop to get more man-sized tissues for another lonely night in. I'm going to read you this exactly how he has written it so that you might get a better idea of how deep the cheating rabbit hole goes. But make sure you take it all in because it will honestly blow your mind. Here we go. Hi, I was once a hacker. I was a competitive player in ESL on console and PC, and also designed computer hardware and software professionally. Now I'm old and bad, but I know a thing or two. I hope you'll take the time to listen to this, as it is long, I know, but it took me a long time, and I think you'll find a lot of interesting things in here. So cheaters and hackers are not the same thing. You will almost never see a hacker, ever. You almost always see cheaters who are not hackers. Cheaters use cheats made by hackers who are also cheaters. Hackers hack things, and they can use this skill to make cheats if they are also cheaters, or they can use it for other stuff. Differentiating between hackers and cheaters is super important. Why? Because hackers are actually kind of smart and skilled and can use their hacking skills for all kinds of things, good or bad. The terms we use are white hat and black hat. Hackers are the people responsible for all your favorite game mods and lots of cool patches that gave balance to the games and fixed bugs. Hackers can be good. They usually are, and they are always very, very clever. This is not a compliment you want to give a cheater, and calling a hacker a cheat is disrespectful if they aren't one. Let's stop conflating these terms. The state of the art. It's already worse. I have devices here which I can configure to be literally an aim robot that works by looking at the screen and sending inputs to a normal controller. It's just a computer with a webcam and a couple of motors, costs less than a Cronus Max, almost completely undetectable without physically being in this room. On top of that, virtualization in hardware is the future. This is important because the virtual hardware the software runs on provides separation between your software so that the nasty software can do nasty things so easily because everything runs in its own little world. This is good and also bad because it makes cheat software even harder to detect. Future cheats are going to be almost invisible. In the past, the theory, never actually implemented yet, of how to deal with this was to use server-side anti-cheat to detect players doing things which were not humanly possible. In the modern day, this is not considered plausible. The reason is that real human players are becoming so highly skilled that it is very difficult to tell them from a robot. Simultaneously, the bots are so good at pretending to be human that it's hard to tell the difference. This situation will only grow worse with time. Take into consideration a meme that has been popular this week, asking if a prosthetic hand amounts to a machine gun. This was a joke, but also not. A prosthetic hand is definitely a machine, and if you use it on a gun, well, what do gamers do in a future where an amputee will outpwn everybody? This will happen in your lifetime. The line between a human and a machine grows thinner every single passing day. The path to a solution is to recognize that cheating is not a technical issue. it's a social issue. This is why it is so much worse in other countries, even though the technology is absolutely identical. It's the people that make the problem. It is a symptom of sociopathy. Normal people cannot cheat because it makes them feel guilty, because they know that they are making other people sad or angry. This is compassion, something that humans have evolved with, because we need our social groups in order to survive nature. It takes a special kind of mental dysfunction to allow an individual to do this. Sadly, due to the rise of the internet, this dysfunction is more and more common as our society rewards it. Through modern capitalism, we are training human evolution towards this. You can find plenty of research into the prevalence and growth of sociopathy in business. Shit rolls downhill. There are numerous other psychological issues at play here, such as the self-delusion that you can never win if you're cheating. You can't. Cheaters aren't playing the same game because the game is defined by its rules and they aren't playing within that definition. They aren't even playing the same game, so they can't win that game. Also, cheaters are disqualified, or that everyone else is doing it, so it's okay if I do, etc. I could go on, but you get the idea. Cheaters are literally not right in the head. Cheating is a mental illness problem. And as tech rolls on, we will land in a place where even people who are not cheating have an insurmountable advantage. What are you going to do? Nerf a real person's arm, eyes, or brain? Hardware parity. It's okay boomer time, kids. When gaming consoles were first coming to be, one of the features which was a big reason for their success over PCs was hardware parity. What's that? It means that everyone has the same hardware. This provides a level playing field so that the dude with the big wallet doesn't get an advantage over the poor kid who can't afford the latest machine. Of course, this is more competitive by nature because it is balanced, so it is desirable. Of course, over the 50-ish years since then, this has been largely forgotten, and with the progress of modern TVs and audio systems, the peripherals to the console are now breaking parity, making things unbalanced again. And this gets worse with the aftermarket controllers. Microsoft purportedly took a shot at preventing this as much as possible by putting a security chip in the controller so that only genuine controllers could be used. And of course, hackers, being the clever bastards that they are, found a way around it. Anyone who knows how a USB works knew this would literally fail in seconds. Most people believe that Microsoft knew it too. They know what they are doing. They are not dumb. And this was just a way to artificially corner the market for controllers. The result is that our controllers are expensive and electromechanically garbage because clones cannot exist. Competitors can't develop better products, and disabled people have to pay a fortune for a special device with a chip in it because they can't use normal USB devices like we would be able to without this useless security measure that exists only as a money spinner for Microsoft, who, along with Logitech, are marketing themselves as being considerate to the disabled because they sell the device. Exclusively, of course, because the security chip is only available from Microsoft by application. Disabled people cheered this on, and Microsoft and Logitech fucked them for $200 each. Marketing for the win, right? I can make you a controller that will last longer than you do for a few $100. I tried to float this business, Microsoft wouldn't have it. There's no place for this in a market where Microsoft can force you to overpay for junk that gets stick drift and broken triggers in a few months and force you to buy another controller. Ever seen an Xbox One Series controller with trigger drift? No, because Microsoft already used that right technology in the triggers. They could use the same tech in the sticks too and kill stick drift forever, but they don't. Now you know why. We pay them not to. This isn't even getting started on planned obsolescence. Hardware parity is dead, and we killed it on purpose. Crossplay. So what the fuck does this have to do with crossplay? Well, obviously not all input devices have the same capability, and as above, we can't ever know what input device a player is using, but in the sense of controller and PC, we would like to operate under the assumption of some degree of hardware parity, meaning consoles use controller and PCs use mice to aim. A stick and a mouse differ in a very specific manner that can be quantified. Sticks provide input as a displacement movement vector. Simply, this means how far you move the stick and in what direction. Mice do something effectively the same, how far you moved your mouse and in what direction, but there is a huge difference. For the controller, the magnitude of the displacement, how far you moved it, controls the speed of rotation of the player's aim point. In other words, it's how fast you turn. For the mouse, the magnitude of displacement controls the magnitude of the movement, and in other words, it's how far you turn. So, what is the relationship between speed and distance? How fast versus how far? Time, of course. A controller user must manage not only the magnitude of displacement of the stick, but the time which they displace the stick for that magnitude. A mouse user does not have to do this. This is a technical and physical reason why mice are better for aiming than controllers are. Controllers are harder because you have to control not only the two dimensions X and Y, but you also have a third dimension, time. The mouse gets the same job done by controlling only two dimensions, X and Y. It's literally 2/3 as difficult as a stick. Because of this disparity, mice have a huge advantage, particularly in making quick adjustments. Where the time frame is short, it requires exponentially greater precision from a controller in the X and Y dimension. So flick shots and especially close quarter shot controllers just don't stand a chance. So what to do? Well, for a long time now, consoles have had aim assist, and this is a literal aimbot of some sort, which takes the player's input and targeting data from the game, which is already available to the player and sometimes isn't, like aim locking players through bushes or smoke where you can't see them, and programmatically applies that data to augment their inputs to be more useful. This mechanic is intended to allow lesser skilled players to achieve better results, so that the casual players don't get pwned by sweaty nerds, because getting pwned all the time sucks, and games that aren't fun don't sell consoles. Aim assist is just another money spinner. It does not have any other intention or purpose. So let's just apply aim assist to the controller so they match the mice, right? Wrong. Because of the whole time has an exponential effect on XY precision requirements thing, the advantage of aim assist is far greater when time is short. That means that for aim assist to give controller players a chance against mice, it has to be pretty strong. And if it is that strong, then it is now too strong in CQB or flick shots and other fast stuff. For example, you just press LT and RT at the same time and you will almost always hit. A mouse cannot compete with that. But if it's turned down so it doesn't provide an unfair advantage, then it is now too weak elsewhere, giving the mice the unfair advantage at range. The mice have a linear difficulty increase with time decrease, the controller exponential. This is why they just can't be comparable in skill requirement or effect. Aim assist doesn't work around this at all. They cannot play together fairly, guys. I'm sorry, let it go. Also, don't assume that you can divide crossplay by input device type either. Just because I'm on a PC using a controller does not mean I am not using a mouse. Often I am using both, controller in one hand, mouse in the other. That's allowed and intended on PC. I could be using my phone's touchscreen for all you know. Such is the intentional versatility of PC. Hardware parity was never an aim of PC gaming and doesn't even survive on console, so why assume it? The importance of private server hosting. So, hardware parity can't be enforced, and anti-cheat cannot be enforced or even detect cheaters. On top of this, we have networking related hacks, lag switches, DDoS attacks. Look at the current state of Titanfall, and any number of other threats to fair play. Are we screwed? Well, yes and no. There's still one way to combat this, and you see it in all major competitions: private server hosting. A cheater cannot cheat if you can watch them doing it because it's happening on your network, or on your computers, or in your same room, in your face. A cheater cannot cheat if they can't even communicate with any of the computers running the game because they're firewalled out. So when the game developers stop supporting your game, stop banning cheaters, stop patching exploits, and eventually just take down the servers, what can you do? Well, if the server is yours, you can take care of all of this at the server level. If your game doesn't offer private hosting, yeah, you're screwed. Besides, LAN parties are fucking cool. Somewhere along the line, game devs realised that renting servers was big money and decided to keep it all for themselves. They don't release the server part of the games, so when we buy a game, we are at the mercy of the devs when it comes to any kind of cheaters or griefers. We as gamers have to put a stop to this, and there is only one way. Don't buy games that don't give you the server to run in your bedroom or wherever you see fit. So the upshot of all of this is, stop calling cheaters hackers. These words are not synonymous. Console crossplay with PCs can and will not ever work. It's physically impossible, at least with consoles and PCs that exist today. It will always be terribly balanced, so stop asking for it because you will regret it in the long term. Cheating is not a technical problem, and anti-cheat programs and algorithms can never be the solution. It is a social and psychological problem and has to be solved at a community and personal level. Until then, we must demand private server hosting, and demand means don't buy it if it doesn't have this. And lastly, the most meta part of this is, we have to start thinking about the meaning of competition in a future where an even playing field cannot be ensured by any means, because that future is very nearly upon us. Thanks for taking the time. I hope this was interesting for you. So there we have it. This guy has literally sent me a whole video's worth of pros, and I'm extremely grateful to it, not least because of the sheer amount of information that he has given us within this. It is so interesting to hear someone's point of view who is coming at it from an actual professional standpoint. But anyway, that's all we've got time for today. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I've been really excited to get this video out there. For those of you who have watched my videos for a while, you'll know that I love to see who sticks around until the end. So if you're still here, I'd like you to let me know by answering this question down in the comment. Honestly, what do you make of all this? Do you agree with all of this guy's points, or do you have some more questions, or perhaps you just think it's all a load of rubbish? I'd really like you to let me know down in the comments. Anyway, that's it from me today. I'm Average Joel. Peace.